NBA players who shattered stereotypes by coming out gay. What if I told you some of the NBA's biggest stars? Men celebrated as legends on the court have been caught in scandals, whispers, and truths that shake the very image of masculinity in sports, from explosive lawsuits and leaked messages to brave confessions that changed basketball forever. These stories reveal a hidden side of the game fans rarely see. This isn't just about points and championships, it's about secrets that could rewrite legacies. Are you ready to uncover the truth? Hit that subscribe button and stay with Legends of Black Excellence because you won't believe what comes next. Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard's career is one of the most fascinating and complicated stories in NBA history. Standing at 6'10" with unmatched athleticism, Howard quickly rose to become one of the league's most dominant centers. Drafted first overall by the Orlando Magic in 2004, he was supposed to be the heir to Shaquille O'Neal's throne in the city. Howard lived up to the hype, leading the Magic to the 2009 NBA Finals and winning 3 consecutive Defensive Player of the Year awards, 2009 to 2011. By the time he reached his prime, he was an 8-time All-Star, 5-time rebounding champion and NBA champion with the Los Angeles Lakers in 2020. Few big men in the modern game could match his combination of power, speed, and charisma. But just as his on-court achievements were cementing his legacy, Howard's private life began attracting intense scrutiny. Beginning in 2018, multiple individuals came forward alleging relationships with him, including men and transgender women. One of the most publicized incidents involved Mason Elidge, who accused Howard of attending transgender sex parties. The controversy escalated further in 2023 when Stephen Harper filed a lawsuit claiming that he and Howard engaged in a consensual threesome with a transgender woman named Kitty. The court documents included explicit details that fueled endless headlines, making it nearly impossible for Howard to control the narrative. His own admission that the encounter was consensual raised even more questions about the double life he may have been living. At one point, Howard was quoted as saying, "If this makes me gay, then I'm gay," a statement that highlighted his inner conflict, but also created a media firestorm. Yet whenever asked directly about his sexuality, his response was defensive and evasive. He often insisted his personal life was nobody's business, which only deepened the mystery. His short-lived marriage to rapper Amy Luciani in 2024, followed by divorce in 2025, seemed to many as another attempt to maintain a traditional image while rumors of same-sex encounters persisted. The fallout from these controversies has overshadowed parts of Howard's basketball career, which is unfortunate given his accomplishments. Despite being in the NBA for nearly 2 decades, his reputation often drifts toward his off-court stories rather than his Hall of Fame-worthy numbers. He has scored over 19,000 career points, pulled down more than 14,000 rebounds, and remains one of the greatest defensive centers of his generation. Howard's situation illustrates the larger struggle professional athletes face in reconciling personal identity with public perception. In a sport historically known for hypermasculinity, rumors of same-sex relationships can become career-defining controversies. Howard, once beloved as Superman, now sits in a complex place, admired for his talent, but debated endlessly for what he won't openly confirm. His journey reminds us that even legends on the court are human beings battling with their own truths. Lamar Odom. Lamar Odom's story is one of triumph, tragedy, and endless speculation about his private life. Born in South Jamaica, Queens, Odom overcame a difficult childhood marked by the death of his mother and the absence of his father. Basketball became his escape, and by the time he declared for the NBA draft in 1999, his talent was undeniable. Selected 4th overall by the Los Angeles Clippers, he quickly established himself as a versatile forward with guard-like skills. Odom's unique ability to handle the ball at 6'10" made him one of the most unselfish and dynamic players of his era. His career highlight came with the Los Angeles Lakers, where he became a vital piece alongside Kobe Bryant and Pau Gasol. Odom won 2 NBA championships in 2009 and 2010, and was honored as the NBA Sixth Man of the Year in 2011. With averages of 13.3 points, 8.4 rebounds, and 3.7 assists per game over a 14-year career, he left a legacy as one of the most talented forwards of his generation. Yet while his skills made headlines on the court, his personal life drew just as much, if not more, attention. Odom's whirlwind marriage to Khloe Kardashian turned him into a reality TV star, but it also exposed the darker sides of his lifestyle. Drug addiction, infidelity, and brushes with death, including his near-fatal overdose at a Nevada brothel in 2015, nearly ended his story. And in 2022, speculation about Odom's romantic life reached new levels when transgender model Danielle Alexis shared intimate Instagram photos and captions suggesting the two were far more than friends. The posts sparked endless rumors, especially given Odom's history of secrecy and the carefully worded denials issued by his camp. What made the rumors even more compelling was Alexis's striking resemblance to Odom's ex-wife Khloe Kardashian, suggesting a type that transcended traditional gender boundaries. Insiders hinted that Odom's long struggle with substance abuse may have lowered his inhibitions, opening him up to relationships he once hid. His refusal to directly address questions about LGBTQ+ connections has only fueled speculation, with many observers interpreting his discomfort in interviews as a sign he has more to reveal. Despite the scandals, Odom has worked to rebuild his life. He has spoken openly about his battles with addiction, emphasizing his desire to inspire others through recovery. His return to public appearances and reality shows paints the image of a man still searching for stability. Yet the lingering questions about his sexuality remain part of his complex narrative. Lamar Odom's journey illustrates the fragile balance between fame and identity. A champion on the court, but a man haunted by private battles off it, his legacy is layered with brilliance, heartbreak, and unanswered truths. Whether remembered as a basketball star, reality TV figure, or a man shrouded in mystery, Odom's story continues to captivate fans who wonder how much of his truth still lies untold. Jason Collins. Jason Collins may not have been a superstar in terms of points or highlight reels, but his name is etched in NBA history for a very different reason. He shattered one of the last great taboos in professional sports. Born in Northridge, California, and raised in the San Fernando Valley, Collins grew up alongside his twin brother Jaren, with both developing into standout basketball players. After excelling at Harvard-Westlake High School, Jason attended Stanford University, where his disciplined style and defensive instincts helped the team reach the Final Four in 1998. In the 2001 NBA Draft, Collins was selected 18th overall by the Houston Rockets and immediately traded to the New Jersey Nets. He spent 13 seasons in the NBA, playing for 6 teams, including the Nets, Celtics, and Wizards. Collins was never a flashy scorer, but his 7-foot frame and willingness to do the dirty work setting screens, protecting the paint, and anchoring the defense made him a valued teammate. He appeared in over 750 regular season games and was part of the Nets squads that reached back-to-back NBA Finals in 2002 and 2003. Off the court, however, Collins carried a secret that weighed heavily on him. For years, he hid his sexuality from the public, his teammates, and even his fiancée, WNBA star Carolyn Moose, to whom he was engaged for 8 years. Just weeks before their planned wedding in 2009, Collins abruptly ended the relationship, leaving Moose heartbroken and confused. Only later did she learn the truth about his internal struggle. In April 2013, Collins made history when he publicly came out as gay in a Sports Illustrated cover story. His revelation sent shockwaves throughout the sports world, instantly making him the first active NBA player to openly identify as gay. The announcement was met with overwhelming support. President Barack Obama personally called Collins to commend his courage, while fellow athletes, coaches, and fans applauded his bravery. Collins wore the jersey number 98, a quiet but powerful tribute to Matthew Shepard, a young man murdered in a 1998 hate crime, signaling his deep connection to the LGBTQ+ community even before his public revelation. After coming out, Collins continued playing briefly with the Brooklyn Nets before retiring in 2014. In retirement, he transitioned into advocacy, using his platform to push for inclusivity and acceptance in sports. He became a visible spokesperson for LGBTQ+ athletes and worked with organizations like GLSN, Gay, Lesbian, and Straight Education Network, to promote safe spaces for young people in athletics. Jason Collins' story is about far more than basketball. It is about courage, honesty, and breaking barriers. While he may not have had superstar stats, his willingness to live authentically redefined what it means to be a role model in sports. Collins paved the way for future athletes to come out without fear, ensuring that his legacy will be remembered as one of progress and pride. John Amaechi. John Amaechi's name may not appear in highlight reels or Hall of Fame debates, but his courage reshaped the narrative of what it means to be an athlete in professional basketball. Born in Boston but raised in Stockport, England, Amaechi was far from the traditional path of NBA stars. Growing up, he often felt out of place, tall, bookish, and more interested in ideas than locker room banter. Yet his natural size and determination propelled him into basketball, eventually earning him a scholarship to Penn State University. There, he became a standout forward, averaging 13.9 points and 7.0 rebounds per game during his senior year before declaring for the 1995 NBA draft. Although he went undrafted, Amaechi fought his way into the NBA, debuting with the Cleveland Cavaliers in 1995. After several years in Europe, he returned to the league and found a home with the Orlando Magic, where he became a fan favorite for his gritty play and intelligence. Over the course of 5 NBA seasons, he averaged 6.2 points and 2.6 rebounds per game, most notably turning down a $17 million contract from the Los Angeles Lakers in order to remain loyal to the Magic, a decision that stunned the basketball world and cemented his reputation as a man guided by principle rather than fame or fortune. But Amaechi's most groundbreaking moment came in 2007 with the release of his memoir Man in the Middle, where he publicly came out as gay. This revelation made him the first former NBA player to do so, shattering long-held silences in the league. He described the suffocating environment of homophobic locker room culture, where slurs were common and the pressure to conform was relentless. His candid writing made clear that he wasn't just an observer, he was a man living those struggles in real time. The impact of Amaechi's honesty was immediate. While some critics dismissed his story, many others praised his bravery. He was invited to speak on major media platforms and became an advocate for diversity, equality, and mental health. Unlike some athletes who fade into obscurity after retirement, Amaechi carved out an entirely new path. He became a psychologist, broadcaster, and consultant. He even received the Order of the British Empire (OBE) in 2011 for his contributions to sport and social justice. Amaechi has often emphasized that basketball was only one chapter of his life. For him, the real legacy lies in mentoring leaders, promoting inclusion, and showing that athletes can be more than their statistics. His journey from the NBA hardwood to academic lecture halls and corporate boardrooms proves that authenticity can be a form of greatness as powerful as any championship. In the end, John Amaechi's story is about more than sports. It's about truth, resilience, and paving the way for future generations to live openly without fear. Dillon Brooks. Dillon Brooks has built his NBA identity around toughness, trash talk, and relentless defense. Born in Mississauga, Ontario, Brooks rose through the Canadian basketball system before starring at the University of Oregon. By his junior season, he had become one of the best players in the Pac-12, averaging 16.1 points per game and earning Conference Player of the Year honors. Drafted in the second round in 2017 by the Houston Rockets and traded to the Memphis Grizzlies, Brooks quickly became a gritty wing who embodied the Grizzlies' grit and grind culture. He made his mark as a fearless defender, willing to challenge the league's biggest stars, and by 2023, he was known as the NBA's ultimate villain after clashes with LeBron James and others. But Brooks's reputation isn't only defined by his defense. Off the court, his personal life has sparked its share of controversy. The most explosive rumors surrounded his alleged relationship with Big Bambina, a Canadian woman who many speculated was transgender. The story began when Brooks's ex-girlfriend, Heather Holly, accused him of cheating with Bambina. The accusation hit harder than typical gossip because it specifically questioned Bambina's gender identity, which quickly fueled online debate. Brooks chose silence, which only deepened the intrigue. Normally, athletes respond quickly to false claims, especially when their reputations are on the line. Yet Brooks never publicly addressed the rumors, leaving fans and media to speculate. Big Bambina later shared her birth certificate to prove she was not transgender, but the fact she felt compelled to do so highlighted the intensity of the controversy. The episode wasn't just about identity. It raised larger questions about Brooks's private preferences and why such rumors gained traction in the first place. Adding fuel to the fire was the timeline of their alleged relationship. Reports claimed Brooks and Bambina had been linked since 2021, a claim that suggested more than a passing fling. Social media activity also hinted at a closeness between the two, with Bambina appearing to know details about Brooks's schedule and personal life. Her decision to wipe her Instagram clean after the scandal only added to the mystery, suggesting that the situation may have been more complicated than either side wanted to admit publicly. Through it all, Brooks maintained his villain persona on the court, leaning into his reputation as one of the league's most polarizing players. In 2023, the Memphis Grizzlies decided not to re-sign him, and he moved on to the Houston Rockets, where he continued to draw attention for his aggressive style and sharp tongue. Yet no matter what he does in uniform, the lingering rumors about his personal life remain part of his story, illustrating how today's athletes are often judged as much by gossip as by performance. For Dillon Brooks, the question is whether he will eventually address the speculation head-on or continue letting silence define the mystery around his name. Ray Allen. Ray Allen's name is synonymous with greatness. Known as one of the deadliest three-point shooters in NBA history, Allen's silky jump shot and clutch performances earned him 10 All-Star appearances, 2 NBA championships, 2008 with the Boston Celtics and 2013 with the Miami Heat, and a permanent spot in the Hall of Fame. His 2.973 career three-pointers stood as the all-time record until broken by Stephen Curry in 2021, cementing his place as a pioneer of the modern perimeter game. Off the court, Allen cultivated the image of a family man and disciplined professional. But in 2017, his reputation was shaken by a scandal that left fans questioning how well they really knew him. That year, Allen claimed he was the victim of an elaborate catfishing scheme. A man named Bryant Coleman allegedly posed as multiple women online, engaging Allen in intimate conversations and extracting private information. The NBA legend filed legal action asserting he had been deceived. But Coleman countered with explosive claims of his own, insisting that he and Allen had actually shared a 3-year gay relationship and that Allen knew Coleman's identity all along. The case quickly spiraled into one of the most talked-about NBA controversies of the decade. Coleman's allegations included private photos, videos, and messages he claimed were exchanged consensually. While none of this evidence was ever publicly released, the mere suggestion of such material existing kept the story alive. Coleman further alleged that after their falling out, Allen harassed him with late-night calls and even threats, behavior that sounded more like that of a jilted partner than someone exposing a scam. Allen's legal team painted Coleman as unstable and seeking attention, insisting their client was simply a victim of manipulation. Yet the story never fully disappeared. Skeptics pointed to the length of the alleged relationship and the depth of the communications as indicators that this was more than a catfishing hoax. Why, they asked, would a savvy, media-trained NBA star repeatedly fall for the same trick over several years? In the end, both sides reached a private settlement and the case quietly faded. Allen returned to his role as a basketball ambassador, motivational speaker, and philanthropist. He focused on his family, his business ventures, and his legacy on the court. But the shadow of the scandal still lingers whenever his name resurfaces in discussions about NBA players and hidden lives. For fans, Ray Allen's story raises larger questions about the pressures athletes face to maintain a flawless public image. Was this a case of genuine deception or a carefully constructed defense to protect a career and family reputation? Whatever the truth, Allen's legacy is now more complicated, forever balancing the brilliance of his jump shot with the mystery of what really happened off the court. Dwyane Wade. Dwyane Wade's career is etched into NBA history. Drafted 5th overall by the Miami Heat in 2003, Wade quickly became one of the league's most electrifying shooting guards. His ability to slash to the rim, his fearless finishes, and his clutch performances earned him the nickname Flash. By the time he retired in 2019, Wade had secured 3 NBA championships: 2006, 2012, 2013, a finals. MVP, 13 All-Star selections, and a place on the NBA's 75th anniversary team. With career averages of 22.0 points, 5.4 assists, and 4.7 rebounds, he is widely regarded as one of the greatest shooting guards of all time. Off the court, however, Wade has built a second legacy, one rooted in advocacy, family, and courage. In 2020, his daughter Zaya Wade publicly came out as transgender at the age of 12, sparking both praise and criticism. Wade, alongside his wife, actress Gabrielle Union, stood firmly by her side. His unconditional support made headlines worldwide, transforming him into one of the most visible allies of the LGBTQ+ community in professional sports. Wade's journey into advocacy was not a staged PR move, it was a deeply personal evolution. In interviews, he admitted that he had little knowledge of transgender issues at first and had to educate himself. He openly shared that learning to support Zaya was a process, one that required unlearning old stereotypes and embracing new truths. His vulnerability resonated with fans, proving that even sports icons are parents first and foremost. In 2022, Wade and Union took their commitment further by moving their family out of Florida, citing restrictive laws targeting the LGBTQ+ community. They launched the Translatable Project in 2024, designed to amplify transgender voices and provide resources for families navigating similar journeys. This initiative highlighted not only their dedication, but also Wade's willingness to put his platform to work in ways that reach far beyond basketball. At the same time, Wade has faced criticism from some circles, particularly from those who accuse him of exploiting his daughter's identity for attention, or argue that children are too young to make such decisions. Yet Wade has been unwavering, once responding to critics by saying, "This is not a game." His fierce defense reflects a father's determination to protect his child at all costs, no matter the backlash. Today, Wade's legacy is twofold. On one hand, he will forever be remembered for his fearless drives to the basket and his role in building the Miami Heat dynasty. On the other, he stands as a powerful symbol of acceptance, showing that athletes can use their influence to spark change. By aligning his voice with the LGBTQ+ community, Wade has redefined what it means to be a champion, not just in basketball, but in life. Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's basketball brilliance is unquestionable. Drafted 2nd overall in 2007, he quickly proved himself as one of the greatest scorers in NBA history. With 2 championships, 2 Finals MVPs, 1 regular season MVP 2014, and 14 All-Star appearances, Durant has a resume that places him among the legends. His combination of size, skill, and shooting touch has made him virtually unguardable, and his career average of 27.3 points per game puts him in the conversation with the very best to ever play. Known as KD, he has been the face of franchises from Oklahoma City to Golden State and Brooklyn, and now the Phoenix Suns. Yet for all the accolades on the court, Durant's personal life remains a mystery. Unlike many of his superstar peers, he has avoided long-term public relationships. Aside from a brief engagement to WNBA player Monica Wright in 2013, His dating history is surprisingly thin for a celebrity of his stature. This unusual privacy has fueled endless speculation about his romantic interests, particularly because he has remained single for nearly a decade, despite being one of the NBA's most recognizable figures. Rumors about Durant's sexuality have circulated for years, with whispers linking him to transgender women and speculation about whether his bachelor lifestyle reflects something more complex. Stories emerged about a transgender woman named Ava, though no credible evidence has ever surfaced. At the same time, Durant's tendency to avoid direct answers when asked about relationships has only deepened curiosity. Some argue his guarded approach reflects a man fiercely protective of his personal life, while others interpret it as an effort to shield truths he isn't ready to share. Fueling this perception is Durant's occasional use of homophobic language on social media, which has led to fines from the NBA. In 2021, he was penalized $50,000 for offensive messages exchanged online. To critics, this behavior suggests internal conflict. To supporters, it reflects poor judgment in moments of anger rather than hidden truths. Either way, it reinforces the idea that his private identity is far more layered than the public persona he projects. Durant's avoidance of traditional relationships has also contrasted with carefully staged public appearances with women, which some see as image management rather than authentic romance. While many NBA stars use their fame to showcase their personal lives, Durant seems to retreat further into privacy, rarely even addressing speculation. His philosophical comments in interviews speaking of heartbreak and independence paint him as a man who has chosen an unconventional path, one where basketball and self-reflection take precedence over marriage or family. Ultimately, Kevin Durant's story off the court mirrors his style on it, unpredictable, complex, and impossible to pin down. He may never publicly address the rumors surrounding his romantic life, but his decision to keep it private ensures the mystery will remain part of his legacy. For fans, KD is both one of the most gifted scorers ever and one of the NBA's most fascinating enigmas. Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons entered the NBA with the weight of expectation. Born in Melbourne, Australia, he was a high school sensation in the United States before starring one season at LSU. Drafted first overall in 2016 by the Philadelphia 76ers, Simmons was billed as a once-in-a-generation talent. At 6'10", with guard skills, he immediately impressed, winning Rookie of the Year in 2018. By 2020, he was already a three-time NBA All-Star, two-time All-Defensive selection, and widely considered one of the league's best playmakers. His ability to defend multiple positions and run the floor made him indispensable even as his shooting woes drew heavy criticism. Off the court, Simmons became just as famous for his personal life. He dated high-profile women, including Kendall Jenner and British TV host Maya Jama, often finding himself splashed across tabloids as much as sports headlines. Yet alongside these public romances, Simmons has faced persistent speculation about hidden aspects of his private life. In 2020, transgender model Amani claimed she had private messages and Snapchat exchanges with Simmons, suggesting a sexual relationship. Screenshots circulated briefly before being deleted, sparking debate about whether the accusations were real or a bid for attention. Simmons chose the latter. He never directly addressed the controversy, leaving the public to wonder. His silence was striking, especially given how quickly many athletes move to clear their names when false allegations surface. To some, it looked like damage control. To others, it was simply a refusal to dignify gossip. What fueled the speculation further was Amani's ties to celebrities in hip-hop and entertainment, meaning she moved in the same circles as Simmons, which gave her claims some credibility in the eyes of fans. Beyond the transgender rumors, Simmons has also faced questions about his unusually close friendships with two men from his high school days, Taj Malone and Alex Subers. They often travel with him, attend games, and are supported financially by Simmons, prompting outsiders to speculate about the true nature of these relationships. While many athletes maintain lifelong friendships, the constant presence of these companions has become part of the broader narrative about Simmons's private world. Professionally, Simmons's career has also taken dramatic turns. After a bitter exit from the 76ers following the 2021 playoffs, where his reluctance to shoot was heavily criticized, he was traded to the Brooklyn Nets. Injuries, inconsistency, and mental health battles have since plagued his performance, making his off-court controversies even more magnified. What once looked like a Hall of Fame trajectory now feels uncertain. For Ben Simmons, the combination of unmet potential romantic scandals and unanswered rumors has made him one of the NBA's most polarizing figures. Whether his silence is a shield against lies or a way to hide truths only he knows, one thing is certain. His story is as much about mystery as it is about basketball talent. Isaac Humphries. Isaac Humphries' name might not carry the same global weight as LeBron James or Stephen Curry, but in 2022, the Australian centre made history far beyond the box score. Born in Sydney in 1998, Humphries showed promise early, representing Australia in youth tournaments and later joining the University of Kentucky, one of college basketball's most storied programs. After going undrafted in the 2017 NBA Draft, he briefly signed preseason contracts with the Atlanta Hawks and Los Angeles Lakers before building a successful career in Australia's National Basketball League (NBL). While his basketball resume is respectable, averaging 11.6 points and 5.4 rebounds during his NBL career, Humphries' true impact came when he publicly came out as gay in November 2022. Becoming the first active professional men's basketball player in a top-tier league to do so. The announcement was raw, emotional, and deeply personal. Speaking to his Melbourne United teammates, Humphries revealed that years of hiding his identity had driven him into depression, culminating in a suicide attempt in 2019 while living in the United States. Humphries explained that he was tired of living a double life and wanted to embrace his authentic self. His words, "I know how it feels to be in a dark place, and I don't want anyone else to feel like that," struck a chord, not just in Australia, but globally. NBA players, NBL stars, and LGBTQ+ organizations applauded his bravery, marking a cultural shift in the conversation about sexuality in men's professional sports. The timing of his revelation was no accident. Humphries had reached a point where secrecy was more dangerous than truth. He described years of sneaking around, deleting apps, and lying to teammates just to preserve an image of normalcy in a hyper-masculine environment. Coming out allowed him to reclaim his mental health and become a role model for countless young athletes grappling with the same fears. Humphries' announcement came nearly a decade after Jason Collins retired, highlighting the gap between when players feel safe to come out and when society begins to accept them. Unlike Collins, who revealed his truth after his NBA career ended, Humphries chose visibility while still competing, a decision that carried significant professional risk. Yet the overwhelmingly positive response suggested that times were changing. Since then, Humphries has continued his career while balancing his role as a public advocate. He has spoken openly about the importance of representation, mental health, awareness, and building inclusive spaces in sports. While he remains a competitor first and foremost, his courage has redefined what it means to succeed in basketball. His story proves that true strength lies not just in physical ability but in authenticity. Isaac Humphries may never lead the NBA in scoring or rebounds, but he has already left a mark far greater than stats alone. He has shown athletes everywhere that it is possible to be both openly gay and proudly professional in a sport long dominated by silence. Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert has built his reputation on dominance in the paint. Born in Saint-Quentin, France in 1992, Gobert entered the NBA as the 27th pick in the 2013 draft by the Utah Jazz. What began as a project player quickly turned into a franchise cornerstone. Standing at 7'1" with a wingspan of 7'9", Gobert redefined rim protection for a new generation. Over his career, he has won 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards, 2018, 2019, 2021, earned 4 All-NBA selections, and appeared in 3 All-Star games. His career averages of 12.5 points, 11.7 rebounds, and 2.1 blocks per game underscore his role as one of the league's most reliable defensive anchors. But beyond the accolades, Gobert has found himself the subject of recurring rumors and speculation about his personal life. Despite maintaining relationships with women, most notably Julia Bonilla, with whom he reportedly split during her pregnancy in 2023, questions about his sexuality have often surfaced in media and fan discussions. Some have pointed to his emotional reactions during games, his unusually close male friendships, and even moments of public defensiveness when asked about his private affairs. The speculation intensified after incidents that seemed to complicate his public image. In 2023, Gobert was fined for making a homophobic gesture during a game, an act many saw as either careless immaturity or a possible projection of internal conflict. Critics argued that his behavior reflected insecurity, while others insisted it was simply poor judgment in a heated moment. For those who already suspected Gobert was grappling with hidden truths, the episode seemed to confirm their suspicions. Despite this chatter, Gobert has never publicly addressed questions about his sexuality. Instead, he has doubled down on focusing on his career, especially after being traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves in 2022. There, he continued to anchor defenses, helping the franchise reach the playoffs with his trademark shot blocking and rebounding. Yet the whispers have followed him, amplified by the broader conversation around closeted athletes in professional sports. His name is often included in speculative lists about NBA players who might be hiding their true identities, though no credible evidence has ever emerged. What makes Gobert's situation particularly complex is the cultural lens. As a French athlete in the NBA spotlight, his every move is magnified internationally, where societal attitudes toward LGBTQ+ issues vary widely. That dual pressure, representing both his homeland and his NBA team, may explain his reluctance to speak openly about anything outside basketball. Rudy Gobert's story, then, is not just about blocked shots and defensive awards. It's about how fame, culture, and personal privacy collide in the life of a global sports star. Whether the rumors are baseless gossip or reflections of hidden truth, they reveal how fans are often just as fascinated by the private lives of athletes as their performance on the court. For Gobert, the final chapter of this narrative will depend not only on his game, but also on whether he ever chooses to let the world see more of who he really is. Zion Williamson. When Zion Williamson entered the NBA in 2019 as the #1 overall draft pick, he was hailed as the most hyped prospect since LeBron James. At 6'6" and nearly 285 pounds, his combination of raw power and explosive leaping ability made him a once-in-a-generation athlete. In just his rookie season, Williamson averaged 22.5 points and 6.3 rebounds per game, proving the hype was justified. By his third season, he was already a two-time All-Star, captivating fans with thunderous dunks and highlight reels that made the New Orleans Pelicans must-watch basketball. But alongside his brilliance on the court, Williamson's personal life has been marked by turbulence. His relationships have drawn as much attention as his basketball feats. In 2023, adult film actress Mariah Mills made headlines with fiery social media rants, accusing Williamson of betrayal and painting a picture of a chaotic love life. Around the same time, his connection with another woman, Akima, became public, creating a swirl of drama that overshadowed his return from injuries. The controversies didn't end there. In 2022, rumors circulated online alleging Williamson had been romantically linked to a transgender man who had transitioned from female to male. While the claims were never confirmed and quickly denied by those close to the situation, the level of specificity, alleged messages, photos, and timelines led many to believe the whispers had roots in insider knowledge. Even Mills, during her public tirades, hinted at Zion's feminine behaviors, a phrase that fueled further speculation about his private preferences. These rumors, though unverified, highlight the intense scrutiny placed on Williamson. In an era where athletes are more exposed than ever through social media, every detail of his private life has been dissected. His decision not to publicly address most of these claims has left fans and critics alike guessing. Silence in Zion's case has become its own statement, one that allows mystery to persist. Professionally, Williamson has also faced setbacks that mirror his off-court struggles. Repeated injuries have limited him to fewer than half of his team's games since being drafted, raising questions about whether his body can sustain his high-flying style. Still, when healthy, his impact is undeniable. In the 2022-23 season, he averaged 26 points on 60% shooting, showing flashes of the dominance that made him the most coveted college star at Duke. Zion Williamson stands today as both a symbol of immense promise and a lightning rod for speculation. His youth, fame, and fortune have placed him under a microscope, where every rumor becomes a headline. Whether the whispers about his sexuality and relationships hold truth, or are simply the product of celebrity gossip, they have added complexity to his image. On the court, he is a budding superstar. Off it, he remains one of the NBA's most polarizing mysteries. The stories of these NBA players prove that greatness on the court often collides with secret speculation and the courage to live authentically. From public revelations to whispered rumors, each name forces us to question how much we truly know about our sports heroes. Is the league ready to fully embrace players who break the mold, or will silence and scandal always dominate the headlines? Now it's your turn. Do you believe more NBA stars are hiding their truth, waiting for the right moment to step forward? Share your thoughts below, only here on Legends of Black Excellence.